Topical issues. There was a time when I talked about my keeping of dairy, cattle, and chicken in a small piece of land, and the production was poor. Today I'm going to talk about alternatives to things that we are used to, alternatives. And the alternative I'm going to put in place today is the Kenaf plant. Kenaf. Here in Bungoma, we are neighbored by a town called Webuye, which is known for the production of pepper. Trees are becoming scarce, and the company relies on trees. So what does it mean? It means that production of pepper becomes a problem because now there aren't as many trees as people can be able to cut and utilize for that purpose. But this has taken me back to my days when I was still a young man. I've not started working, I'd just finished school. And I went to stay with an uncle in a place in central Kenya, Kirinyaga, a place called Kimbimbi. And there is a research station. The housing was just behind, next to a school called Karoti Girls Secondary School. I stayed there for almost a year before leaving and going to other places. And even my posting to the Teachers Training College in Kericho was from a center called Wanguru, just there, neighboring town to Kimbimbi. So I know those areas. But I'm not going to talk about Kimbimbi and Kirinyaga. I'm going to talk about a plant I would see on my way from Nairobi to Kimbimbi in a place called Thika, a plant called Kenaf. Kenaf is a herb. It grows in around 1 year's time or less. And it is stem and stalk are used to produce clothing material, sack-like material that can be used also in the car manufacturing industry. And the stalks produce quality, high-grade pepper, first class. So when I talked of a pet economy, that is the way I was keeping my animals, and I would spend more on them than they would give me, so they were like pets. They were not able to produce profits economically like in a farming enterprise. I thought of a neighboring town, realizing there are no trees. Once you've started a tradition, it's always good to keep it up because you have skills in that tradition. Webuye and the surrounding area is a pepper manufacturing area. And I thought of this plant, Kenaf. If Kenaf can be grown on a commercial scale, first, it grows within a year. It will be able to fetch a lot of money. It will be able to keep the pepper industry going. And on top of that, it will be able to produce clothing material. I was listening one time to one of our presidential contenders who made us laugh. He had started as a professor. He's called Jacoyo. He had studied in America and he came for the presidential election, and his campaign was growing cannabis and collecting poison from snakes for selling and keeping the rare snakes. It sounded funny. It sounded comical. But at least he was telling us something. Conservation of some species of snakes and those animals that are venomous. The venom from those snakes is used to make anti-venom drugs. It's very expensive, it's rare. He talked of cannabis as a cash crop, and it sounded funny because cannabis has been banned in most parts of the world. But the United States, which had banned, is now legally allowing the growing of cannabis. And one time he was being interviewed, and I wondered, cannabis only for smoking? And I realized in the cannabis family, there's cannabis sativa, there is many other cannabis, like Indian hemp. It is from the family of cannabis, but it doesn't have those chemical effects. It cannot make you high. It doesn't have those other properties. But this plant, Indian hemp, will give you very good clothing material, long-lasting, high-class paper, and it grows within a very short time. Cannabis itself, if it's done on a commercial basis, the plant produces clothing material. That was what surprised me, that cannabis can produce clothing material, the stem, that the stalks can produce paper, and the plant itself can be able to produce some chemicals for medicinal value, but when you grow it, it will mean you have to keep it enclosed like now the Americans are doing it. It's not open for anybody to be able to access, so that you grow the whole plant and you are able to uproot the whole plant. Those who are getting the part for the medicinal purposes get it to process the medicine, and the stalk and the stem are able to produce high quality cloth, high quality paper. It was surprising. We've got lots of resources that we've never thought of. And it's a high time that we think of things like Kenaf. Kenaf belongs to the okra family. The okra plant, this one that people use like vegetables, is sticky. Kenaf belongs to that family. It can be easily accessed. It does not need many insecticides like cotton or all these other plants. And it has a shorter growing time. When it has grown, you just have to cut and then let the stem ferment a bit and then separate the stem matter and the stalks. The stem matter produces material used in car industry, high grade clothings. It's able to produce a type of gunny bag that is so soft and so beautiful. It can produce many other items. So it is high time that we thought of alternatives. They can make us money. They can keep our industries moving. They are cheap and easy to keep, to grow. And they can be alternative to some crops that we grow and we don't realize the money. It's only when we start in Thika, I realized a lot of Kenaf was being grown there. I don't know if it's still being grown. That was a long time when I would traverse from Nairobi to Embu to Meru and back. And that plant caught my attention. It is a plant that those who plan within the Kenyan system can think of. Apart from cotton, Kenaf can also be introduced. Indian hemp can be introduced. Just like when we were seeing on the internet, we didn't realize banana fibers produce high quality clothes. Banana fibers, things that we have been taking for granted and throwing away. So it's high time we open our mind to things that have been there. The other countries are benefiting from them, but to us, we take them to be trash. That is my take for now.